Hi, everyone. Welcome to our mini live stream with Kevin Boyle. This is a mini one. We're only going to be talking for like 20 minutes to a half hour with Vancouver-based photographer Kevin Boyle, because he sent me two beautiful light boxes for our February Exposure Photography Festival show. So I kind of specifically wanted to kind of hone in on these beauties and have Kevin talk a little bit about them today. We have a few more live streams lined up in February and March. Next week, we'll have local photographer and creative Bryce Krinsky. And then on March 5th, we're going to be doing a gallery tour / show tour of her current show at the gallery with Rocio Graham. Introduce Kevin a little bit here. Kevin is a Vancouver-based photographer who was born and raised in the Canadian prairies. He spends his time roaming the vastness, the plains of his homeland, and very much in keeping with that short bio. The two light boxes that we have at the gallery are from his Day Sleeper series, which is very much focused on the prairies and the photography of the prairies. I have one behind me, which I know my giant head is in the way, but there's beaver lumber. I have some images that I'll bring up later. Kevin, do you want to add anything to my short and sweet introduction?
No, not a thing.
No, that's fine. And that's just it. I kind of rounded it up, right? I mean, there's so much more, but at the same time,
if you go on any longer, I'm going to just finish this bottle of scotch off and we won't even talk about anything. So,
well, and that's true too. It's like, it's happy hour, so join us.
Friday.
A scotch, kombucha, whatever your fancy is. And it is cold out there, I know, but I encourage you, even through this talk, the resolution isn't great. You really need to come and see these in person. Okay, so let's just get started here. So, like I said, I wanted to focus on this new series of well, I don't know how new they are even. Like, how long have you even been doing the light boxes for? It's new to me.
The first light box I did was actually for the Ice series. I did it for a Christmas show before I launched the Ice series, and I guess that was 2017.
Okay, so it's not new, really.
What's that?
I said it's not that new, really.
It's funny because it took me until about now to really get what I wanted to do with it, if that makes sense. Like the materials, the lights, it was trial and error all the way through, where either sourcing it or having somebody build it. I didn't want anybody to build it for me. I wanted to do everything myself. So the first light box was in a show at the Komodo Gallery in Vancouver. Yeah, end of 2016, 2017. And then I did another light box. When I look back at the Day Sleeper series, that's when I really wanted to start exploring it more. Because the Day Sleeper series was, like, I love having the blacked out backgrounds, and that takes multiple photos. Like, I do one static shot where I overexpose the scene a little bit so I can get the sky and I can get any details I want to keep or delete back in. And then when I'm actually lighting it up, it's usually anywhere from like 4 to 10 photographs, depending on how big the structure is. Because I'm lighting certain parts and then I'm hand painting it in Photoshop afterwards, and then combining it all together. And so when COVID hit, I had all these plans. I had great plans. I was going to be going back down to, oh my God, I just sounded like Donald Trump there. I had plans, great plans.
You're forgetting.
Good thing I'm bald. I had plans of going back down to the States and doing a big drive all the way down to Nevada, where I was going to do some more of the lithium shoot. And that was kind of my plan, and then shoot all the way back and kind of take the kind of through the US Midwest area, the prairies, and go through South and North Dakota back to Manitoba. But obviously that didn't happen. So I went back and I started going through all my old Day Sleeper images, and I went through the ones that I thought were, I had those blank images with the initial images that had the backgrounds in them a bit. And then I just started re-editing and basically started from scratch and doing it from ground zero. So I didn't take an image that was already there and just throw lights behind it. I recreated and reimagined all these and re-edited them all. Because like anything else, I mean, Day Sleeper was shot 2014 to 2016. And then I've done a couple on the way. But since then, my skills have continued to change and improve, and my technologies improved. So, yeah, I just started redoing all these images, and then, just imagine what lights would look like. It's kind of that. This is how it looked when I was actually lighting it up with flashlights. Yeah.
Well, no, I mean, that's a little bit of a good segue because, because I do find that these day sleeper images really lend themselves to light boxes because the original photographs had so much of a kind of theatrical lighting to them to begin with, right?
Yeah.
So there's now this whole other element of actually having them lit from behind. And I didn't realize that you had to rejig the photographs to get them to work for light. I mean, it makes perfect sense. It makes perfect sense. But, and I guess that's part of, again, one of the other things I wanted to ask you about, which is some of the challenges of working with the light box. So we'll get to that in a little bit. I want to go back a little bit to, behind me is beaver lumber. Actually, I'm not going to stop doing that. That's annoying. I'm going to have the image. Why don't I just bring it up? Okay, so here's beaver lumber. Where is this? Where is beaver lumber?
It's in this great little town called Robsart, Saskatchewan. And it's a photographer's haven. It really is. It's got so many abandoned buildings. And I feel real fortunate that I got there in 2014. And a lot of the buildings were like that. They were untouched. They're intact. And now they've changed. They've changed a great deal. I got back there. I think I photographed every building as it was, in the 60s, 70s, and 80s at least, before the false fronts came in. And the beaver lumber has changed. Like the door has faded more. The plywood's become more worn down, so you don't get those yellows and bright colors in it. And then the white paint has also faded a bit more, so you can't really see the beaver lumber coat as well.
Right. Okay.
But yeah, it's a great little town. It's a great little town.
Well, and I know there are other photos that you have from Robsart as well. But yeah, in this image, I think kind of captures a little bit better than, even looking behind me, because with the, the fading light, it is illuminating a bit more, but that image certainly shows like what I'm talking about with that intensity. Yeah. Because with the original photograph, you were illuminating them with like your car headlights, and, you had some kind of giant high powered flashlight too, that you were kind of painting them with in the long exposure, correct? So, so no, I love this. It's just adding a whole other element to it. And I'm going to now hide that one and bring up Kim's Convenience. So not Kim's Convenience, that's a TV show at the CBC, Kim's General Store.
Yeah.
So where is this taken?
That's a little town called La Riviere, Manitoba.
Okay.
Yeah, I drove out there. I flew to visit my mom in Winnipeg, and it was getting near the end of the golf season, so it was pretty cold out. And I was like, you know what, I'm gonna borrow your car. I brought my camera with me. I just jumped into her car and I just drove to La Riviere, which is, it's like 3 hours, something like that. 2 or 3 hours from Winnipeg. I saw a Google image of it, because what I do is I'll go onto Google Maps and I'll just drive through the towns virtually, and I'll see buildings that interest me. Then I'll reach out to townships and say, hey, is this still there? And if so, what does it look like? And some people send me a picture of it. Yeah, this is what it looks like now. And then if it looks good, I'll hop on a plane or I'll drive out and I'll start photographing it. And that was one of the ones where it had these two cool circles signs, it was Lucky Store signs or Lucky 7 stores, something like that. Okay. But they were taken down. So there was 2 big blank circles, but ended up working out better because I got it on a full moon, and I just waited for the moon to come up behind it, and it worked out pretty good. So.
No, it's a beautiful spot too. Also, so very enhanced by the light. They're beautiful images on their own. Don't get me wrong, but there's that further enhancement. seeing them, as light boxes, as again, you can kind of see here. And I like this shot that you took because it also shows the little like remotes that come with them to turn them on and off, because these are sophisticated light boxes. And again, we'll get to this in a moment. I'm just doing teasers for the last 15 minutes. But what is great about them is that, these light boxes are, they have a battery pack, and they, you can turn them on and off. Like, I don't know if I have the right one. Yeah, there we go.
There you go. I mean, the nice thing is, like, if I was, like, what I tell my clients are, if you're going to buy a light box, then heck, I'll pay for the electrician to wire it in behind. Just hardwire it so you can do it all the time. An electrician will do it for $500. I mean, if you're spending that kind of money on a piece of art, then hey, I'll spring for it. I mean, we'll put it in there and deal with it. But
it is.
The battery packs, they're great. I mean, they allow you to have it on for. I think I ran the Beaver Lumber one for like 48 hours before I had to recharge the battery. That's straight all the way through the night at full brightness. So. I mean, you just plug it in and charge it when you're not using it or when it's not on. And the nice thing is, I mean, the paper we sourced is fantastic. It's actually a polypropylene paper.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, and it's the sharpness that I get and the detail I get from that paper is ridiculous. It's better than an 8K screen. Like, you can see details that I couldn't see in my old. I was using Moab Slick Rock Pearl before for my main prints. And now I'm using this for everything, light boxes and everything. Because the old light boxes was an Epson translucent light box paper. And so when I saw that paper, Epson stopped making it. So we bought all the rolls in North America. We had them all sitting in our warehouse. And it's just like, well, this stuff is even better. And because it's polypropylene, we can shoot through it with lights. And if the lights are bright enough, then we can really show the detail from it. So
that's really interesting. So it's so now with even outside of light boxes, what you're saying, like you're still printing on the same paper.
That's my paper. That's my paper. That's what I use now, and it's you can't really get it here. My print team is like, well, we don't sell it to anybody else, so you're kind of on your own, which is nice for now. I mean, and they're going to have to eventually, but. It's so good. It's just so good. It just shows color, and the blacks you get on that paper are unbelievable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, they are. It's very cool. But I learned every time I think I talk to you, I learn a little bit more about photography and the series. You kind of think you got a handle on it, and now already I've learned like 3 new things about this series. And. Okay, where am I here? And okay, so we talked I talked a little bit about how it adds a whole theatrical element. What else did you seek to enhance through the light, through converting them to light boxes?
Well, the first light boxes I ever saw were at the Audain Museum in Whistler, and it was Rodney Graham's light boxes and Jeff Wall's light boxes, and I just found them like striking, that you're seeing this, and it's a fine line. It's a fine line between having an enhanced piece of art and a bus stop. You know what I mean? Like having the lit up sign, like Little Caesar's Pizza lit up behind it. And it's a really fine line to get exactly what you want to do, what you want to show to get it right. And what I was finding was when I first shot these images, I always thought like how neat it looks when I'm standing in front of the building in the pitch black and you're getting little hints and details in the background. And I wanted to be able to show the viewer exactly what it looked like for me when I was shooting it. And to have, to light it from the front in creation and then light it from behind in post-production that was the end goal. I think all along, I just didn't know the technology well enough to do it properly. But I think it was always kind of in the back of my mind that I wanted to do that, especially with the Day Sleeper series. And I have a regular, hold on.
Well, behind you, right?
Yeah, I'm backwards on the camera, so.
I know, it's hard.
I'll go backwards.
I always get it messed up, which side of my head.
Yeah, but that's also Rob's art. Like this one's also Rob's art that's behind me. Yeah.
Yeah, and so different.
And,
of course, it's in the daytime, right? So it's not that you are, that they're less impactful, with the daytime. Certainly not. But yeah, different feeling too. I mean, it is like daytime, like that sunshine. You can, even through the screen, I can see that, right?
Well, and one of the things that I found with especially moving to this paper was that because I'm printing this on the same paper I do all my prints on, when you turn the lights off, it looks like a regular print. It doesn't change. Like I found the Epsons, they were a bit muted. They're a bit dull. I don't care trashing Epson. They don't even produce it anymore, so it doesn't matter to me. But the
we're not sponsored by Epson. It's fine.
Not sponsored by anybody. But yeah, they look like a normal print. So when you turn it off, it still looks like a day sleeper print that you get. It's just now when you turn it on, it gives it more of a haunting feel. And I mean, I can choose different lights, like certain parts of each image I can use like a cooler light or a warmer light to give like a different color tone even. So like when I'm doing, when I'm photographing it, I'll use a warm flashlight for the woods and a cool flashlight for the whites and stuff. And it really makes colors pop. So it's almost a surreal image. You would never see this in real life. Like unless your eyes have a dynamic range like a bird or something like that, you're not going to see it. Oh, look at Jen and Jessica. Hey, Brandon and Chris.
And for joining us.
But yeah, it's a regular print. It's just you light it up from behind it. It changes the whole feel of it. I wanted to feel like you're getting a hug from the picture, like it feels warm. It's natural daylight color that we're using, so.
And you can tell, and I love that you kind of get a hug, but it's true. Like there is something so approachable about it when it's illuminated, right? So, I mean, this is the part that, we've already been kind of talking about these points too, but yeah, the challenges of working with the light box. So, I mean, which we were discussing, like, so you take all these extra steps with the light when you're shooting it. So, and obviously you're retweaking the images again for light boxes, but like that in itself seems like a big challenge. So, did you have trouble? I know they're LED. So was there a lot of trial and error then, I guess, with like finding the right source?
I just happened to have a fantastic LED company right beside my work office. Okay. So I popped in there. I'm like, hey, I'm building light boxes. What do you got? And the guy's like, well, you need this, this, and this. I'm like, okay, cool. That helps out. But then the first couple I did, they would solder everything together. But then I just wanted to do everything. I wanted to do the whole thing. So like the first light boxes I built were pretty square. They're, one side was 33 inches, one was 33 and a 16th, or 33 and an 8th. And I was like trying to squeeze prints in there. And then I figured, well, why don't I print it first and then I'll build the box so it fits. And then we'll go from there. But I always liked working with wood. I figured if I'm going to build them, I want them to be built. I don't want them to be a purely automated commercial thing where I'm pumping out light boxes. I wanted to make them. And then when I sourced I actually called some place to see what they would charge for a light box to build. They quoted me, one of the Vancouver companies, I won't say who, for a Rodney Graham box, they quoted me for a 42 by 56 inch light box, $14,000 to build. Yeah, problem. Right. No problem. Yeah, let's do that. Let's see how fast Jen will divorce me if I do that.
And how you help then, right? When you have to make, it's like,
it's like,
wow.
I feel like I'm a resourceful guy. I'll learn it. I'll learn 100%. It.
I couldn't believe it when you actually said you made it. I mean, again, you need to come in and see these because you're not really getting the full, but the frame is made like this. The wood is beautiful. I love that. that you left the grain of the wood. Like, I think, again, it really like that was a great decision, and that it lends itself so beautifully to the imagery.
Yeah.
You know, like they're very square, like the edges. Like
they're square. These are just square.
The joinery is beautiful. Like they are,
Yeah.
they're really beautiful, Kevin. And they are quite deep from the wall, just so you know, like
they're 4 inches. They're anywhere from 3 to 4 inches.
Which I like too. You know, they have a presence, right? It's again, like, you know, this isn't just a frame on the wall. Like, this is like, take notice of me. I'm this like amazing photo that's, you know, kind of screaming at you.
I'm gonna turn this over to.
So, I mean, okay, so selection of the wood.
There we go. There's another one.
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh, I love that image too. That's.
Can't really see it because of the thing. Hold on, let me turn it off. Yeah, it's there you go. A little hard to see in the light, but yeah, it just changes everything. What's that?
This one almost came here, right?
Yeah, and then, yeah. But the beaver lumber one.
It's available, people.
Yeah, exactly. The beaver lumber one, when I finished it, I was like, no, I'm going to send this one. I love this image. It's been my favorite image for years. So
it's fantastic. I mean, I'm not complaining. I love whatever, but I just remembered that we'd kind of gone back and forth about which ones you were sending. And I knew I kind of left it up to you. I was like, this is a bounty of riches for me. So just send whatever is your favorite.
Yeah.
And so one other thing I wanted to ask about, because this is probably a bit of a nerdy technical question, but yeah, also like that level of illumination, right? Like, was that a difficult thing to kind of play with?
Well, that's why I went with a dimmer, because I found that when it was daytime, you'd want to crank it up. Mm-hmm. And then when it was nighttime, you didn't want it to be too overpowering, so you could bring it down a little bit. And to be able to change the lighting was one of the non-negotiables I had. I didn't want to have, I mean, the old light boxes were built with the tubes, right? The halogen tubes. And you got an uneven light, and they burned out, and they're a pain to open up and construct, and they're massive. And then what I found with the LEDs, and particularly with this paper, and this is the other big point, is with this paper, you don't have to have a diffuser panel. So with the old LED, with the first light boxes I built, it was where's my hand? Light source. Yeah, there we go. Light source, diffuser panel, print. And that diffuser panel was a white piece of plexiglass.
Right.
So you had 2 pieces of plexiglass and a piece of aluminum in a solid oak frame, and it was heavy. And with this paper, because it's a little bit denser, but still translucent, we could ditch the panel in the middle, and it makes it lighter. It takes the light. It's more directed where the light goes, and yeah.
Well, no, and they're quite sophisticated, I guess, in that. Also, I know we talked about this a bit, but people, and chatted maybe briefly about it earlier too. But they have a battery pack so that they can be charged. Which is great. I mean, I think I've only charged them a couple times. Like, I put them on when people in the gallery, and then of course, like, because I want to kind of show off like the features. I'm like, well, let me turn that on for you. It's like, it has a battery. Like, I love that you can do that, because I guess my experience previously was all with these kind of older, methods. And I know that, again, I'm not going to like, name names, but I know with certain artists who did light boxes that for institutions that would purchase them, you had to always purchase 2 of the photos, because when the one disintegrate, and so it was this like crazy investment from that perspective too. Because
and this is different. I mean, we were talking about it before we got on, but like, we're using archival inkjet. Or ink, Epson inks on it. Not that we're sponsored by Epson. Yeah. But it's, archival ink, and then we're coating it with a UV and scratch resistant laminate. We're face mounting it onto plexiglass. I mean, the frame is going to rot before the print goes bad, which is going to be a very long time.
There's a lot.
Yeah. And the idea was because they shouldn't be too cost prohibitive. They're like, don't get me wrong, they're still expensive to build because the lights are expensive, the battery packs are expensive, the when we hardwire them. So normally I'll use something like this. It's like a power inverter.
Okay. Okay.
To a dimmer switch that controls everything. Then we hardwire it to the LEDs. And yeah, I feel like a bit of a mad scientist sometimes when I'm putting it all together. So.
And I'm like, too much technology. But you've done an amazing job. And I think all that research has paid off. I'm going to wrap this up because, oh my goodness.
Yeah, do it.
But at the same time, I mean, I want to end it by saying that once again, people come and see these because we have them up until, you know, kind of mid-March-ish, and then they will be in the gallery after that too, if they don't sell. And they're phenomenal to see in person. Like just all the, you know, all the tech nerdiness that you've just exuded, like is meaningful to also the creative wizardry and magic that you've created in your photography. So
thanks.
I think that takes a certain person and a certain skill, right? Because not everyone is going to nail that, and you did.
Thanks.
You really did. So thank you to everyone who tuned in for our little mini live stream talking about light boxes.
It's sponsored by Dalwhinnie.
Yeah, there you go. And I don't know, whatever cheap white wine I'm drinking. But you know, the show is up for Exposure Photography Festival, which is up for the month of February here. Brave the cold, people. I know it's cold, but get in the gallery. It's warm. There's a pug to greet you and amazing images to see. So please come on down. It's so much better in person. Love to show off the features of these light boxes with you. Again, we have a frame shop here too. So come in and talk to Candice about your framing needs and or look at arts. What else do I want to say? All the art is available for purchase. Let's keep this in mind. Support artists, support local, support a gallery, because you know what? We're all nesting in our homes. Let's make them beautiful and have things that we want to look at every day, because we're spending so much more time there right now. And of course, you can see more of Kevin's images on our website at www.christineclassengallery.com. Or what is yours? Your kevinboylestudio.com, correct?
Correctamundo.
You can go over there too. He's got great images and from all of his series. So that's always a great resource as well. Thanks everyone again for joining us. Stay warm out there, and hopefully we'll see you in the gallery really soon.